Hello everyone, this is KAHEVA. Human history is the history of slaves. Today, there are only two types of slaves. One is the slave who is aware that he is a slave. The other is the slave who isn't aware of it. Up until just 200 years ago, most of the human beings were slaves. Only a few were free from labor and war and pursued intelligence. It was after the Industrial Revolution when women and children started to be liberated from labor. People think that the United States was the first country to abolish slavery. That is never the case. The history of our earth is the history of slaves. United Kingdom first abolished slavery. It's not the USA, but it is United Kingdom that abolished slave trade and emancipated slaves for the first time. The British government earned 30% of its finance by slave trade. However, it led the movement for the emancipation of slaves, even though it caused financial damage to the country and to the people. Since 1920s, the pioneers of UK risked their life and joined the anti-slavery movement. On August 1st, 1834, the United Kingdom banned slave trade in UK and also in all of its colonies, and it emancipated 750,000 slaves. The government finance was paid to compensate the loss of the slave owners. The total price amounted to £20 million. The government of the United Kingdom could not pay the compensation even after 100 years. It was able to pay all the compensations back in 2015, 200 years later. The great country UK emancipated the slaves and also demanded other European countries to emancipate slaves. America did not want to liberate the slaves. The desk of the President of the United States is called the Resolute Desk. United Kingdom removed some timber from the ship called the Resolute and sent it to the US President as a gift. Determined to do what? It was determined to emancipate the slaves. Until before UK's emancipation, the systems of all countries such as Korea, China, Europe, America, etc. were a complete slave system. During the Middle Ages, the average lifespan of Europeans was 40 years. There was no slave business in Asia. However, the people were tamed to the slave system since the country had to protect the king and the religion. In particular, in China, the subjects were not allowed to use the color yellow. It's because yellow was the color of gold and the color only for the emperor. All the Chinese people were the king's slaves and they built the Forbidden City. It was more difficult than constructing a paradise. Rome, Italy built Vatican. It was harder than making a paradise. You'll regret if you go to the Emperor's Forbidden City because it is so vast and large that your legs will hurt. Forbidden City is the largest palace in the whole world. The Great United Kingdom also started the Great Industrial Revolution. The humanity was able to make remarkable progress through the Industrial Revolution, which was embarked by UK. The progress was greater than the 2,000 years progress of the scientific civilization. I say it again. The humanity made astonishing progress through the Industrial Revolution, which was started by UK, and the progress led by the Industrial Revolution was even greater than the progress of scientific revolution that had developed for 2,000 years. The Industrial Revolution freed the people from the suffering of labor, and it potentialized the life with evening and books. By the help of machine, people were liberated from labor. Then, the women and children started to read books, and the humanity made progress. The life of women became better. It is also UK that first made child labor law. It is also the United Kingdom that first made the social welfare system. The handicapped and the poor were ignored since it was thought that they weren't blessed by God. However, through UK's social welfare system, the social welfare for the handicapped started all throughout the world. In 1688, UK's Glorious Revolution laid the foundation for the world's democracy and free election. During when France or Spain was having dictatorship monarchy, absolute monarchy, UK displayed liberal democracy through the Puritan Revolution and the Glorious Revolution. From this time on, countries all over the world started to imitate the liberal democracy, election system, and the legal system of UK. France and Spain constructed temples in the colony. The public were the slaves of temple construction, which is more painful than royal architecture. As a result, people became the slaves of the knowledge of religion. Even now, there are many areas that are being affected by knowledge of religion. France and Spain didn't make schoolyards. It's because the people might carry on independence movement. So even now, some schools in the Philippines or Vietnam don't have schoolyards. However, UK constructed school, hospital, and schoolyards in the colonial nations. UK endeavored for human progress. The king or religious person or whoever, human beings are no better than animals if they don't become conscious. KAHEVA does not romanticize imperialism. KAHEVA only conveys the facts. Humans should know the history of each country, and the history of their own country. A nation that forgets its past has no future. A nation that glamorizes its history also has no future. I hope that there is peace for the United Kingdom and the Queen. This was KAHEVA, and see you in the next video. God bless you.